students, now I am going to explain you reflex action and reflex arc. Reflex action is the simplest form of response in the nervous system which are done automatically. This is a simple form of behavior in which the same stimulus produces the same response every time. For example, you can see here the yawning, blinking of eyes, sneezing, removing our hand when we touch a hot pan suddenly. These all are reflex action. This is a simple form of behavior done suddenly without thinking to protect ourselves or our body. For example, during sneezing, when a dust particle suddenly enters our nose, we sneeze. We sneeze to remove out or expel out the dust particle from the nasal passage. Here, blinking of eyes, it protects the pupil from the harmful effect of large amount of light entering suddenly into the eyes. Hence, the reflex action is a sudden action taken without thinking to protect ourselves. You can see here from the diagram, this is the diagram to show reflex action and reflex arc. Now, how this action is done or performed? When we touch a hot pan, the heat, which is stimulus, is received by the receptor cell present on the skin, thermoreceptor cell. This thermoreceptor cell receives the stimulus and transfers it to the sensory nerves, and these sensory nerves transfer this message in the form of electric impulse to the spinal cord. From the spinal cord, this message is transferred by the relay nerves to the motor nerves for the conduction of the work accordingly. From the motor nerves, then this action is passed to the muscles, and where the muscles contract to raise the hand. You can see here, when this message from the motor nerves makes the muscles contract, and when these muscles contract, the hand is raised from the plate, and thus this hand is protected from the heat or hot. Now I am going to show you the reflex arc. In the board you have to draw the same pathway which I am going to show here. This is the stimulus, which is in the form of heat, which is received by the receptor. The receptor cell is thermoreceptor cell, which are present on the skin. This heat is detected in the skin of the hand by the thermoreceptor cell, and it passes the message through sensory nerves to spinal cord, and this spinal cord, the message is transferred to the effector cells through motor nerves, and this effector cell is muscles of the arm, where the muscles of the arm contract and the response is lifting of the hand. The stimulus is heat and the lifting of the hand is response. This whole pathway which is covered during the reflex action is called reflex arc. The reflex action which is concerned with the spinal cord, it is called spinal reflex. Another type of reflex is called cerebral reflex, which concerns with the brain. Here brain is involved, like you can see here. In the dim light, the pupil of eye is larger so that more light can enter into the eye. In the bright light, a speedy reflex action makes the pupil smaller. I am going to explain you. When we enter into a light which is having large amount, suppose sunlight, we just close our eyes, because that large amount of light, it contracts the pupil to protect the pupil from the large amount of light. Now here I am going to show you the reflex action. The stimulus is a bright light which is received by the receptor cell which is present on the eye. These receptor cells are called photoreceptor cells. These photoreceptor cells, then message is transferred from the sensory nerves to the brain. From the brain, it is only transferred brain to the motor, through motor nerves to the effector. The effector cell is the circular muscles of the iris of the eye. This circular muscles responses, it shrinks. The contraction of the circular muscles, the pupil shrinks, and this is the response. Shrinking of the pupil means closing of the eyes.